Amelia Earhart, Churchill, and the F117 are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is June 18th, 2025. It is the 169th day of the year. There are 196 days left, getting closer to mid-year. It is the 25th Wednesday in the 25th week and the 91st day of spring. There are 2 days left until summer. Today is International Picnic Day. International Picnic Day promotes the joy of outdoor eating and social bonding with family, friends, and neighbors. It encourages outdoor activities, environmental awareness, and the connection with nature that a picnic brings out. I don't think I've ever actually been on a picnic, unless it was like, everyone went to the park for 4th of July or something like that. It was never just me, a girl, and a picnic. I don't know why. That always seemed to be the go-to date back in the day. When I was in high school, we had the beach, and I guess we kind of had picnics there, but most of the girls I knew would sit down and go, "Where are the wine coolers?" All right, let's see what else June 18th has given us. 1778, the British Army abandons Philadelphia. In the middle of the Revolutionary War, the British realized holding Philadelphia, then the capital of these rebellious colonies, was more trouble than it was worth. After an 8-month occupation, British troops hightailed it out of town on June 18th, 1778, heading back to New York City. Why the sudden move? France had just entered the war on the side of the Americans, making the British nervous about their vulnerable supply lines and prompting them to consolidate their forces. When George Washington and the Continental Army strolled back into Philadelphia, they found the city in disarray, but also had renewed hope. And the British? They just added eviction to their growing list of American problems. 1815, Napoleon's final curtain call at Waterloo. Yes, if Napoleon Bonaparte's military career were a rock concert, the Battle of Waterloo was the mic drop ending, and not in a good way for him. On June 18th, 1815, the combined forces of the British, under Duke Wellington, and Prussia, crushed Napoleon's dreams of a comeback. Just a few months earlier, he'd escape exile in Elba and return to France like a political rock star. But the encore didn't last. The defeat at Waterloo forced him to be the ex-emperor again, this time for good. He was exiled to St. Helena, a remote island where he had no one left to conquer but the seabirds. Nobody was sailing out there to pick up Napoleon this time. I mean, in modern time, that's such a pain to get there. I think it's like 5 days travel time, and that's if you don't have to wait for the ship that goes out to St. Helena like every 2 months. They do have an airstrip, but I don't know if anyone's flying that far out in the middle of nowhere. 1928, Amelia Earhart crosses the Atlantic. On June 18, 1928, Amelia Earhart became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic, though not as a pilot. That role went to Wilmer Stoltz, with Lou Gordon as mechanic. Earhart essentially was along for the ride. Still, she made history being part of the transatlantic crew. The flight landed in Wales after nearly 21 hours in the air. The media hailed her as Lady Lindy, comparing her to Charles Lindbergh, and although she humbly downplayed the role, she quickly became a global icon. 4 years later, she'd pilot the first solo trip, proving she wasn't just baggage, she was a trailblazer. 1940, Churchill's finest hour speech. By June 1940, things in Europe had gone from bad to catastrophic. Nazi Germany had blitzed its way across the continent, and France, the last major ally standing with Britain, had just surrendered. Britain was now staring down Hitler almost entirely alone. It was a geopolitical version of being the last one left in dodgeball, with everyone already knocked out, and now the biggest kid in class is winding up a fastball aimed right at your face. So what does Winston Churchill do? He steps up to the mic at the British House of Commons on June 18, 1940, and delivers what might be the greatest "we're not screwed yet" speech in history. No sugarcoating it, no delusions, no phony optimism, just raw grit wrapped in poetic fury. He warned the British people that the German invasion could be just around the corner, and if it came, they'd meet him with fists flying. "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets." You could practically hear the defiance rising with every line. But the dismount sealed the speech's place in history. "Let us therefore brace ourselves for our duties, that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, 'This was our finest hour,'" dropped the mic and went home. This wasn't just a motivational pep talk. It was Churchill throwing a verbal Molotov cocktail at fear itself. It united a weary nation, rallied the Allies, and put Hitler on notice. Britain might have been outnumbered, outgunned, but they weren't going to back down. And thanks to speeches like this, they didn't. 1948, Columbia Records debuts the LP record. Columbia Records took music from 2-minute singles to full-blown albums with the introduction of the LP. Long Playing Record is what it stands for. Did you know that? LP, Long Playing? The setting for this release was the swanky Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. The new vinyl format could hold up to 22 minutes of music per side, revolutionizing how people consume music, laying the groundwork for the album era. What I find really interesting, people still collect vinyl. I mean, I've got a few myself, nothing to play it on. I keep thinking I'm going to remedy that, but I never do. 1981, the F117 Nighthawk takes flight. In 1981, the skies got a little sneakier. That's when the F117 Nighthawk, most people know it as the stealth fighter, first took to the air on this date. It was built by Lockheed under the super secret Skunk Works program. Interesting story about this. During the invasion of Panama, we knew about the stealth bomber. We didn't know about the stealth fighter. And the story is, Marines were so freaked out by it, they started shooting at it every time it went over. Someone had to stop and go, no, that's flying saucer-looking jet, that's ours. So a lesson to the United States government, when you're going to send stuff over the heads of a bunch of amped up dudes with machine guns, maybe you should tell them it's going to be there. 2007, the Charleston Sofa Superstore fire. On June 18, 2007, tragedy struck Charleston, South Carolina, when a fire broke out at the Sofa Super Center. It spread quickly through the building's flammable contents, trapping firefighters inside as they tried to battle the blaze. By the time the fire was brought under control, 9 brave firefighters had lost their lives, the highest number of firefighter deaths in a single U.S. incident since 9/11. The tragedy shocked the nation and led to more reform in building safety codes and fire department protocol. It was a heartbreaking reminder of the daily risks faced by first responders. I did a video years ago about a factory, we're talking the 1920s or something like that, and it was some kind of textile factory, but it was this horrible fire, and nobody could escape because the manager, or the supervisor, whatever his deal was, he felt the girls were sneaking out of work early, so he put locks on all the emergency exits. He made it out. 2009, NASA launches the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. On June 18, 2009, NASA launched the LRO, as they call it, a robotic spacecraft with one mission: scout the moon like a real estate agent on a deadline. It was tasked with mapping the lunar surface in high detail, hunting for safe landing sites, studying radiation, and even peeking into permanently shadowed craters that might hold water or ice. It was the moon's first full-body scan in decades, helping pave the way for future manned missions. As far as recon missions go, LRO was like Google Earth on the moon. 2023, the Titan Submersible Implosion. Remember this? In one of the most bizarre, chilling stories of 2023, the Titan Submersible, operated by OceanGate Expeditions, imploded during a dive to the wreck of the Titanic. On board were 5 people, including Stockton Rush, OceanGate CEO. The mission was part deep-sea tourism, part adventure fantasy for the ultra-wealthy. That's it. But somewhere around 12,500 feet below the surface of the North Atlantic, the Titan suffered a catastrophic failure. The search and rescue mission turned into a grim investigation, and the world watched as the tale unfolded into a tragic modern parable about hubris, technology, and the unforgiving power of the deep. Yeah, some dude that went on there, he took his kid. Just an all-round tragedy. Movies released on June 18, 2004, The Terminal. This is a Steven Spielberg-directed film about an Eastern European immigrant who was stranded at New York's JFK Airport. The film took in $219 million at the box office worldwide. The film was inspired by the real-life story of an Indian refugee who lived in Terminal 1 of Charles de Gaulle Airport from 1988 to 2006. He only left because he was hospitalized. Anyway, Tom Hanks played the lead role in this. Catherine Zeta-Jones was in it. The great Stanley Tucci, Diego Luna, Zoe Saldana, and Sasha Spielberg. I wonder how she got that part. If you've never watched this movie, I'd give it a look. Died on June 18, 2024, we lost Willie Mays. Willie Mays, known as the Say Hey Kid, wasn't just a Hall of Fame baseball player. He was amazing, from his electrifying over-the-shoulder catch in the 1954 World Series to his 660 home runs. Mays defined an era in baseball that was both joyful and jaw-dropping. Willie Mays died of heart failure in a care home in Palo Alto, California. He was 93 years old. Alright, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, be nice to each other.